Hey everybody, today it's Joe Biden against Donald Trump in the general election. This is the official prediction as of February. I last took a look at this 4 months ago in October, and that one I had Biden winning it with 293 electoral votes. Since that time, most of the polling has shown Trump with an advantage, so because of that, I have made some changes that are going to favor Trump. Now, I'm not going to go into a huge backstory. We pretty much know the deal with Biden and Trump. This is the matchup most people don't want, and we also don't know how many candidates are going to be on the ballot. Once we throw Kennedy into the mix, things could change. And given that there's 9 months to go, we don't know exactly what the national environment's going to be. It is very difficult to fill out this map with a lot of confidence. So I'm not somebody that says Trump is a criminal and abortion is going to give Democrats the White House. And I'm also not somebody that says Biden is senile and inflation is going to give the White House to Trump. I absolutely think it could go either way, and it's going to be very narrow. As we get more into the spring and the summer, then we'll start to have a better idea of how things go. I will say it's true that a lot of the swing states show Trump with an advantage, but there's a lot of voters that come out specifically to vote against Trump. They don't like his personality, they don't like his baggage, he could get convicted, and yeah, abortion is going to help Biden. But I also don't think Trump is just going to sweep all the states because of immigration and inflation and some of Biden's own baggage. But I know there's going to be comments that say one or the other can or cannot win. That's fine if you think that. I just disagree with it. I try to even everything out the best I can and split it down the middle, but about half of the people that are confident are going to be completely wrong once election day rolls around. So there's a ton of other issues out there. We've got to watch the economy. We got to see what the turnout is going to be with the different demographics. Plus, there's bound to be an October surprise and third parties. So let's get into this. We're going to start with the safe states. These are over a 10-point margin. So we'll start with Biden. He's going to get the West Coast, most of the East Coast, Illinois, as well as Colorado. I just did a video about a Colorado poll the other day. Is it possible it gets under 10? Yeah, it is. But given the recent election results we've seen there, I think it's a little bit more likely it stays double digits for Biden. Now, if we fill in the safe states for Trump, we can start in Alaska. And last time I did have that as likely for Trump. It could still go likely. I know they have ranked choice voting, and Trump is not exactly the best fit for the state, so it's borderline likely safe. For this one, I'm going to put it at just over safe for Trump. So other than that, Trump is going to get all the usual safe states. I don't really see Montana or Utah getting under 10. Of course, if there's a lot of candidates on the ballot, that could change things. Same with Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina. I think it's most likely those stay 10 or more for Trump. Now, if we go down to the likely states, these are between a 5 and a 10-point margin. For Joe Biden, we'll start in New Mexico. This did go over 10 for Biden last time, so it's possible it goes safe again. But for right now, I'm going to take it down to high single digits likely for Biden. Also, Minnesota. Trump got really close here in 16, but completely regressed in 2020. We'll see what happens. It's possible it gets more narrow, but I think it's more likely this stays likely for Biden. Next, we're going to do Maine at large. This is another one that could potentially get a little bit more narrow, but the most likely scenario is likely for Biden. We could also go next door to New Hampshire. Here's another one that was very close in 16, but in 20 it went hard left. As of right now, this looks like it's going to be likely for Biden. And the last state is going to be Virginia. This did hit 10 points for Biden last time. I think it's closer to safe than to leans, but I could see Biden doing 1 or 2 points worse, so that's going to take it down to likely for Biden. Now, the likely states for Trump. Let's go back up to the Northeast into Maine. Trump is going to get the 2nd congressional district by a likely margin. I think he could even crack 10 points here, but to be cautious, I'm going to leave it at likely. And then we could go down to the Sunshine State and take a look at Florida. This is going to be Trump's home state. It has shifted hard to the right, but we still got to see what the trends are going to be one more time in a high turnout presidential election. I think it's an easy call to give it to Trump, and he won it by about 3.5 last time. I could see him doing at least a couple points better. Some of you might say it's going to go safe, but I'm going to even it out and say it's likely for Trump. Let's also look at Iowa and Ohio. These are states that are technically borderline going safe for Trump. They used to be competitive not that long ago, but now they're reliably red. I think it's a little premature to put those at safe, so I'm going to leave them at likely for Trump. The last likely state for Trump is going to be Texas. We got to see the trends in the suburbs as well as South Texas. It's way less red than it used to be, and it could unexpectedly get much more narrow. So we'll see if Trump takes it for granted. I don't think it's impossible for the state to flip if it was a massive blue wave. That scenario looks very unlikely at this point. And on the other end, some of you say this is going to hit 10 points. I think that's also possible, but probably also not that likely. But we got to see what happens. For now, it's going to go likely for Trump. Now we're down to the battlegrounds. This is where the entire election is going to be won or lost. Lean margins are under 5 points. First, let's go into Nebraska and take a look at that 2nd congressional district. It's true that it did get a little bit redder after redistricting, but that's not a district that's favorable for Trump. I think it's possible he could win win it because he did win it back in 16, but I think it's more likely it stays with Biden. Right now, I'm going to say it's about 1 or 2 points, so it's going to go leans for Biden. Let's go east to the Tar Heel state. We've got North Carolina. Here's one that went very narrowly for Trump last time, and I know some people say North Carolina is completely in the bag for Trump, and there are a few reasons to think that, but when it was such a narrow margin last time, plus their governor is a Democrat, you can't say it's impossible for the Republicans to blow it here. But given everything we've seen, I am going to give it to Trump by a low single-digit lean margin. I know some polls have shown it in high single digits. I'm not quite buying that just yet. So now we've got 6 states left, and these are all tilt margins of 1 point or less, so I think they could easily be won by either side. The slightest change of momentum, I think, would flip these states one way or the other. Let's start in the West. We've got Nevada. I think a lot of it's going to come down to the margins in Clark County. Some people are confident this state is moving right and Trump has a great chance. I have seen the polling that shows him ahead, and I think he could absolutely win it, but I want to see some more data as time goes on, so at this point I'm going to keep it at a tilt for Biden. Next door, Arizona. Last time I reluctantly had this as a leans for Biden. Since then, Biden has stayed relatively low in popularity, and I think the issues at the border are a big deal for this state. Even if Trump is rough around the edges and Maricopa County has trended left, I think Trump could narrowly flip the state, so I'm going to give it to him by a tilt margin. Next, let's go to Wisconsin. Last time I had this as a tilt for Trump. I don't think a lot has changed here. In the midterms, they elected a Democrat for governor and re-elected Ron Johnson in the Senate. I think there's some more red area that Trump could tap into, but he's also going to have to keep an eye on the suburbs there. So I'm going to leave the rating the same at tilt for Trump. Next door to Michigan. Last time I had this as leans for Biden, and we've all seen the polls that show Biden trailing pretty bad here. And it's true that in the Rust Belt, Trump has been underestimated in the last 2 presidential elections, but I do think any of the polls that show Trump or even Nikki Haley winning here by 5 or 10 points, that's way too far for me. Republicans have not had a lot of success here statewide over the past couple of elections. So it's another state where we want to see what happens over the next few months, but for right now, I'm going to put this as a tilt for Biden. Next state, Pennsylvania. Last time I had this as a tilt for Biden, and it's another state where Republicans have come up short in some key races recently. Maybe Trump can slightly cut into the margins in Philadelphia, but maybe the suburbs continue to trend left, and the deep red counties in the T, that might not be enough vote for Trump. There's some polls that have shown Trump ahead. There's also been some that have shown Biden ahead. It's a very tough call. For now, I'm going to leave it as a tilt for Biden. Last state is Georgia. We all know last time the margin here was extremely narrow. The Atlanta suburbs have moved away from the Republican Party. It's true Brian Kemp won re-election comfortably, and the polls have shown Trump consistently ahead here. So there are some positive signs for Trump. The problem is we're 9 months out. We haven't really scratched the surface on election season yet, so things could easily change. Republicans came up short in the recent U.S. Senate elections, so there's something for both sides here to be concerned as well as optimistic about. Last time I had this as a tilt for Biden. Again, it's early, but this time I have seen far too many polls that show Trump with a consistent advantage. Could Biden win it? Yeah, he can. But in the end, I am going to give this to Trump by a tilt margin. So the final total is 272 for Donald Trump, 266 for Joe Biden. As I said, it's extremely narrow, but it looks like this time Trump edges it out. That is a change from my last prediction, and there's probably going to be more changes in the future as the election gets going. I know there's going to be disagreement on any kind of a prediction like this, but it doesn't really get much closer than this. Biden is absolutely in this race. Some people can't fathom how anyone could vote for him. And then people say the exact same thing about Trump. But I think the best thing Biden has going for him is his name is not Donald Trump. Trump ignites a lot of voters for him and against him. And I'm not going to be shocked either way on whoever wins this election. Now, if it ends up being Kennedy or somebody like Gavin Newsom, then I would be shocked. But a lot of this is going to come down to turnout. If Trump embraces ballot harvesting, which I know he's technically against, that could be enough to net him an extra point and put him over the top in the key states. I think Democrats are banking on the economy turning around, abortion, and a conviction in one of Trump's trials. The conviction, I think, is the big thing that would hurt Trump the most, but Trump seems to be favored on the vast majority of issues outside of abortion. He's going to play up immigration. That's one of his strengths. He's going to try to tap into some cultural populism. He's going to try to shake up the system, even though last time he did bring in someone like John Bolton, but he is going to have to navigate the waters on abortion as well as trying to protect Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. There are some populist economic issues that I think he could make some gains on. And outside of abortion, Biden is going to have to make Trump look as scary as possible. I also think he should focus on some populist issues on his side, like healthcare. It might be too late for him on an issue like minimum wage, but there's enough here for both sides to be able to win or lose. I hope there are debates, even though neither of these two wanted to debate in a primary. There's going to be questions about whether Biden has the energy to run a full campaign. We'll see how he does. also Trump, he's got to pick a running mate. That could be another curveball to watch out for. So you could go on about this forever, but I'm going to leave it there for now. Let me know in the comments, how does your map look as of February? You think everybody hates Trump once he gets back out there and Biden wins it? Or you think Biden's had his chance and he blew it, so Trump is going to win? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.